Yeah.
All right, good morning, everyone. Picking up work for Tuesday, May 6th. We have Representative Dickinson here who is going to present an amendment to S56, Office of the American. Links on the page. And good morning, Representative. How are you?
Good morning. For the record, Lynn Dickinson. I represent St. Albans Town. I sit on appropriations, and when we reviewed S56 last week, as I read through the bill, which looked pretty good, I realized that there was a group there that could very well be added. So I suggested an amendment, and basically it takes 4F. It extends the membership appointed by the governor from 5 to 6. It adds one more person, and that one member is nominated by the Community College of Vermont. The logic of this is that for well over 30 years, the Community College of Vermont has been working with the New Americans coming to their institution, primarily in Winooski, but really all of them now across the state, as each wave of New Americans has come in. Go back to, I don't know, the South Asians, you can go to the Bosnians, you can go to the Sudanese, Africans, all kinds of different nationalities and races and ethnicities. They, when you go to the graduations for CCV, it looks like the United Nations. I mean, they are all from different places, different nationalities, different levels. When I spoke to Joyce Judy, she did say that, yes, she thinks this is a great idea. They've been very involved in working with New Americans and in trying to get them degrees, help them get into school, deal with their language issues. And she said that often they transfer to other colleges. Currently, their comptroller is a Rwandan who came and started for his associate's degree at CCV, went on to Champlain, and worked for Romarje up in Montreal, and has come back at a decline in salary, but he really wanted to give back, and he wanted to come back to Vermont. So I think that if you're looking for someone who's had a lot of interaction with New Americans, this would be a really good place, a good reference place, because they've got people who've been doing it for years.
And is this, you're a trustee with the state?
I'm a trustee of the state college system, and that's why I go to these graduations.
That's what I'm saying, like, so you're working.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah, and they transferred to other colleges in Vermont. They transferred to St. Michael's, they transferred to Champlain, they probably transferred to some of the other state colleges. I'm not sure of the numbers, but I do know that they have an extensive program that they've worked with for these New Americans over the years. They'd be a valuable asset in my mind.
Tango, then Stone.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing this to us. I did have a couple of conversations with members of appropriations, and my understanding is that CCB already kind of has a system in place where they identify the individual needs of these immigrants who are New Americans, who are entering into their system, and they have a lot of supports in place already that they could share with the rest of the working group.
Yes.
Thank you.
Stone.
I totally recognize the diversity of CCV, but my question would be, I know that there are other organizations that work with diverse populations who are not on this study committee, including educational institutions. So I'm just wondering why CCV and not Winooski High School or even UVM or, other maybe, educational institutions.
Probably because what Representative Hengo just said is we have a system in place. We have a lot of support systems. They work with them and understand what their needs and their barriers are. Obviously, there's lots of other schools that have done. I mean, obviously, they transferred to other schools within the state and other schools within our system. So, but CCV is sort of like the front door entry for higher education that gives them opportunities for jobs and to help them support their families. And they take advantage of it.
my question, I guess, is like more relevant to your room and appropriations. Is there an impact on the per diems with this? Because it's somebody from CCV that would probably not be impacting.
Yeah, I'm not sure it would impact the per diems. They gave us a number of $6,200 or so.
Yes.
Yeah. People who have normal wage situations that assign to these kinds of committees usually don't get a per diem. There are no legislators on it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's with this particular position, I assumed.
It would be someone within the school who would do this as part of their job.
Yes. Thank you. Any questions for Representative? Do you want to talk to council briefly? Water's up.
Well, I have a comment. It's not a question necessarily. I understand the thought process behind having someone from an educational institution. I don't know if pigeonholing it to just CCV is something we want to do, or maybe we say someone from, to make the options a little broader and say someone from, you know, Vermont State Colleges or universities, or Vermont State University, or a public high school in the area or something like that. So still add someone, but make it a little more broad. So it's not just saying it has to be someone from CCV. I would feel more comfortable with something like that. Personally.
I would be amenable to broadening it to somebody from CCV or Vermont State University. I mean, I would think that they would have a similar take on the situation and similar processes in place because they're sort of all part of one umbrella organization.
Yeah, I could see looking at the list of members and the goals of the potential goals of the office, that having someone from the educational space would make sense. But I don't have a strong opinion about where it comes from, and I feel like it makes sense that it would be an education.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I think higher education was where I was going with this, not necessarily secondary schools. Just because the Office of New Americans is really going to be helping like the whole family, adults and children. So I wouldn't want to pigeonhole it to minor children. I would want to broaden it so that it could expand into like adult education and anybody's education.
So I'm just looking at the amendment that says there are 6 members. And I believe that the original bill had 8, 2, 3.
At 5 appointed by the governor.
By the governor.
That's one more appointed by the governor at the nominated by just like the others are nominated by the different organizations.
Okay, so it's keeping the same number of members. You're just adding 1 to this thing.
Yes,
Okay,
from 8 to 9 total.
okay. Thank you. I was struggling with the math for a second.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that one of the things the CCV does is it mostly addresses adult, maybe outside the high school level students. I mean, obviously it does have high school students and it's early college and dual enrollment, but most of the new Americans that they educate are people who probably have jobs, have families, or are trying to make their way and accommodate pretty varied adult life. And that's one of the places where they're the best equipped when they have the support services to go and work with those people.
So I feel like we are modifying, amending the proposal of amendment. That seems to be consensus.
Sure, I think if we amended it, we would say someone from the higher education community in Vermont. That would be okay with me.
Representative?
Is community college, CCV part of the state colleges and just not? Is it?
Yes, it is part of the state colleges.
So could you just not say founded by the state colleges of Vermont? Or state university, however, I mean,
Well, that would
Good,
exclude
yeah.
UVM then.
colleges, UVM, oh no, UVM is not.
There's
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
That's why higher education allows for like a technical center or other,
You'd have to say higher education.
yes.
Okay, so I take no issue with that change. Council wordsmithing, what would be the protocol with that? Would we just want to, if Representative Dickinson finds it amenable, amending her amendment?
For the record, Tim Devlin. I believe the procedure is, to the possession of the bill, the representative could opt to change or an individual or a group of committee members could have their own. If anybody.
Understood.
Well, I guess I would prefer that it be a part of the Vermont State College system because they work with the population, the target population, that is the Vermonters that are usually most needy in terms of financial aid and working with adult students. We have a large number of adult students, both at CCV and at Vermont State University, in all of our programs. And they are, and so I would prefer that if you're going to go, I mean, I'm not sure if Norwich or UVM or Champlain want to be part of this or not. But I think the place, and I'm saying this as a person who just has observed this, not as a trustee, this is my legislative point of view, is that this is someplace where you're going to hit the target population you're trying to target with this new American group with the most experience with it. It's the largest numbers that it's served over the last 30 years. CCV does this more than the old legacy schools did. That's changing, but they have obviously had the most experience with it. That's why I picked CCV. If other schools want to go and be involved with this, that's fine. But I just don't know that you have the same level of commitment or experience that you would bring to CCV.
I also feel that without consulting with UVM, Norwich, Champlain, any other university that's throughout the state, that we don't know whether they would want to be part of this or not, this working group. And certainly, we heard at the rural caucus from the chancellor of Vermont State University, I just wanted to bring this up, that only about a third of their membership at the state colleges is actual what we think of as traditional college age students. Up to 2/3 are more of an adult population. And I feel like many of the refugees who are coming here are older than your traditional student. And this has certainly been a welcoming environment for them. And they're successful because this program is successful that Vermont State Colleges and CCV offer. So I guess I would like it also narrowed to the Vermont State College, Vermont State University, sorry.
Vermont State College systems.
System, thank you. It is still referred to as the Vermont State College System.
System with 2 institutions.
Thank you. I'm confused with the rebranding.
I understand that point. I'm just wondering if by designating specifically where it's coming from, then we're limiting it in the future. Where it doesn't eliminate the possibility of it being someone from CCV. And if, they have an interest in being part of it, they can make that interest known. If, I don't know, I just feel like limiting it to one institution or 2 institutions when there is a broader group that might have representation or opinions or insight into the issue. that doesn't exclude CCV or the Vermont State College system from it. I don't see the harm in making it broader, but I guess.
Rep Stone, they just know, there you go.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I recognize the work that CCV does, but I also recognize the work that UVM and Champlain College do, as they're both in my district, and Norwich. Like, I just went to the Vermont Council on World Affairs, and Norwich University was there to present about the work that they do with international exchange and whatnot. And I just did a quick gander on Champlain College, UVM, and Norwich University's website, and they all boast about having like some of the same stuff that we're hearing that CCV does. So again, like, I think I would err more on the side of keeping it broad and just saying represented from second degree. It's that very may well be CCV, but I would err on that side rather than pigeonhole.
So,
Well, I'm just reading the list of members and thinking, I'm playing devil's advocate here. There's one member nominated by the Brattleboro Development Credit Corp. Aren't there other credit corps in the state of Vermont? So we're narrowing it to just Brattleboro and not all credit corps. I don't know. Yes, I think it's a start, and if they need more members or if nobody can come step forth, who's to say that one member could be from another college or another college?
Banger?
So Rep. Vincent somehow took the words out of my mouth, because the Development Credit Corporation that encompasses Winooski, which is where the majority of our refugees are living, right? New Americans are living right now, is not represented. And so I felt like the addition of the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation was sort of speaking for all the RDCs. And they do have an organization whereby I believe the executive director of the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation is also the executive director of all of the RDCs, that organization. I could be wrong, but I believe that's the case. So my feeling was that if we used the terminology, the Vermont State Colleges system, that would encompass all of the Vermont State University campuses and CCV, and they certainly would be representative of many of the students and faculty that are in the state of Vermont. So I would just go with that language, the Vermont State Colleges system. That's my suggestion.
I think I'm most comfortable with that, not hearing from the other institutions throughout the state. I mean, if we wanted to take more testimony on this and hold it for third reading, that's an option, but I don't think that's the best course. Now I'm just sort of spitballing ideas.
If the amendment sponsors amenable to changing it to Vermont State Colleges system, that would be an open compromise for me.
Yeah, that would be satisfactory to me too.
And does the committee find that to be a favorable change to the proposal of amendment? Yes. So
I can work with the attorney and come up with something to
certainly,
Nigel.
yes. Certainly make that change at the request of, do we want to have it be an amendment, like have you change the amendment, or do we want to?
You can do whatever works for you.
What's the fastest?
What's the, I guess, sort of like, it is, the floor is creeping up on us.
The amendment can be dated as a version 2 with added laws.
Yeah.
Represented.
Yeah, I have to present this on the floor for the Appropriations Committee anyway, so I'd be sort of like go into the.
Yes, no, I agree. So that seems to be probably the most expedient path, is to
Yeah.
just do a new draft of your proposal of amendment.
With the Vermont State College system. That sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So we'll give Mr. Devlin a moment to make that change so we can take the formal position on the clean language. About how much time do you need, Mr. Devlin?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right.
Just about that.
Yeah.
Wasn't right yet, though.
Oh, it's coming.
It's en route.
We still are lucky.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was where I errantly at one point had a 13 count.
Governor gets to choose most of the committee. Lucky him.
Thank you, sir.
Do I need to do anything now?
I think we're good as far as, no, we do, but I mean, as far as Representative Dickinson's
We'll need
concerned.
to report it on the right?
Yeah, I'm gonna, yeah.
So we're just waiting.
Make sure I get it to Nigel and send it out.
That,
I'll get it to Nigel.
thank you. Yep. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so. You.
And Tim, it's draft 2.1?
Yes.
Just waiting for it to pop up.
Yeah.
It's been good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got it, but I lost it.
Stay.
Stay.
All right, folks. Clean copy. We are looking at F,
Yes.
and we all find that it's show of straw poll favorable to the new language in F, Vermont State College System. That is a 10-0-1 straw poll favorable to the amendment. All right, wonderful. See everyone after lunch.